was working. And some people are saying that I am back. All right, so it's showing through now. Yes. All right, so I see that Facebook had stopped for a minute. I'm sorry about that, you guys. It looks like everything. I actually think that our splitter, I think that Restream cut out for a second. So yes. So let's move on before that happens again and everyone does that. I am very sorry about that because everything I looked at was fine except for Restream, and it's showing good now. So let's do this. Let's get into the resources. I like resources. These are the things that I always tell you, that these are the things that I find and I would just share on Twitter and want people to know about. So, my favorite one that I saw this week, the top one, was how often should you redesign your website? Divi Chat is a great podcast. They get people around from the Divi sphere, talk about them. Members of the content team have been on there in the past. They're great folks. And this one is talking about how often you should redesign your website. So this is something that a lot of us are guilty of doing way too often than maybe we should. So check it out. Then I talked about earlier just sorry, I got distracted by LV saying it was, it's been a while and dropped in on the moment I went live again. So that's great. Good to have you, LV. And the ultimate guide to I can't say it. The ultimate guide to HTTPS and SSL went through and put a lot of stuff together. You guys check it out. It's good stuff. There's a good conversation in the comments there. So toot our own horns on that one. And then the third one is really, really cool. I want to make sure that you guys know about it because Smashing Magazine always does good work. That I've rarely seen anything from them that is not just absolute top quality. So the reasons your mobile app retention rate might be so low. This is about mobile apps. And I know a lot of you probably don't have mobile apps that you're working on. And that's okay. If you do, hey, even better. But the Smashing Magazine article here really kind of gives you the reasons that people bounce off of anything. And so with us dealing with progressive web applications, with us just dealing with UI and UX so much these days, just doing everything we can just to grab onto those visitors and hold them onto our sites, this is an important one. Because they go in on just showing, they have statistics on a lot of the way people use apps, that if you have an app, most apps lose 77% of their users within 3 days. Like the average app, people get bored. By the time the first month wraps, 90% of original users are gone. That's normal. I mean, that's crazy, but it's normal. So they break down a lot of data, and then they also go through, like, if you've made it difficult to onboard, that getting started, this is the same with your website. If you're selling things, reduce the friction that your customers have to have between where they come in and where you want them to be. Don't make more steps than you have to, and don't ask for more information than they're going to want to give you. They're going to bounce. Have good calls to action, that kind of thing. They talk about that you might have slow or sloppy navigation. Y'all, I'm sure that you do this. I know that I actually think it was Chromium Flash mentioning it with the header and the menu not looking right, not working right with the child theme, because you have to have it perfect. You have to have the navigation on your site or your app exactly what you need it to be so that people know what to do intuitively and how they can find what they want. Or guess what? They gonna bounce. And just even further, if I can scroll through this and get to the last ones, that it's overwhelming navigation, That one's important because if you have, like the example they give is the BBC app, which they're right. Pretty much every news app is like this because you hit a button, you go to the menu, and all of a sudden you see 3 dozen categories of news, and you're like, I don't know, I just wanted to see what was going on. And you're kind of overwhelmed, and sometimes, and if you're anything like me, sometimes you just close the app. You're like, I don't know. You might click into something like, oh, that's not what I wanted, and just leave and do something else. That's why I like apps like Flipboard. Flipboard works for stuff like this because their navigation is easy. You flip, and you get to new pages, and you see like 3 or 4 articles at a time. It's great. That's what you're aiming for. So you want to, oh my goodness, it's got a lot of, I didn't even see it the first time, how many different BBC articles that they have on there, and they have screenshots of it. It's crazy. But just these things, you're going to want to prioritize these to reduce your bounce rate, that you want to retain as many visitors as you can. And if it's a mobile app, then they are exactly what you need to do. And if it's a web app, if it's a website of any kind, they still really apply. And I see that Reed says, thank you, Reed. Really appreciate that. I say I did it again. WP the podcast did a pros and cons of running a WordPress product company. And this is different than, I want to specify, I'm not going to linger here either, but the difference here is that they're not running a company through WordPress, that they are running a company that makes its money on WordPress products, like Divi. I mean, themes and software, that kind of stuff. A WordPress product that you're selling a plugin, you're selling a service, stuff like that. And it can even apply to design too. So check that out. It's really cool. And then everything's really cool the way I say that a lot. Torque Mag also did. I just want to point out and give a shout out to them. Oh, excuse me. Very sorry about that. That Doc Pop's news drop, which I'm amazed I said without really stuttering and messing it up, had a chat with Josh Pollock, and they talk about React, Gutenberg, and then WordPress predictions. Josh is the guy behind Caldera Forms, which, if you didn't know, there is a Divi extension for it where you can, on their side, that you can use Divi with Caldera Forms. Great stuff. Built by a member of the Divi Nation, too, as a submission. So good job, y'all. And Josh is great. I wanted to give him a shout out to get y'all to read this. He's been on this show when it first started and we were doing guests, and he was the most wonderfully patient person because that was when we were having big time software problems. And I think we started 3 or 4 times trying to get him and me just talking, and it never happened. Met him at WordCamp and we just laughed about it. He's like, yep, happens. That stuff happens, but it's a really good interview, and Josh is awesome. So y'all check that out. And then Matt Mullenweg posted. It's a few down. It's the ma.tt article. He posted about that Automatic, the company behind WordPress, the company who oversees everything, and the one that really runs WordPress.com. And he posted an article. Matt Mullenweg is the creator of WordPress, by the way. He's the one behind it. So just so you know who that is. The importance of meeting in person. He talked about that Automatic did a meetup, the great meetup, where the 800 employees that they have who work remotely got together in Orlando, Florida, and they had their retreat. They had it together, had a little mini conference, and they were talking about how important that is to make connections and really feel like these people are people. And it's absolutely true that if you work remote, that if you work sometimes remote, and there are people who you don't ever get to see in person, it's really, really important that you make that happen somehow at some point, because I feel far more connected with my team after I met them 3 months after I started working here. I met Jason and a lot of the people, Nathan and a bunch of the higher ups, and Nick and Mitch and Kenny. A lot of us had fun at WordCamp last year, at WordCamp US, and I felt so much more a part of the company at that point just because I'd met them in person, that they were people rather than someone who I talked to on Slack. And that's a big distinction. So if you're on a remote team, that may be something to consider bringing up to your supervisor. And if you are a supervisor, that may be something to think about, because it really solidifies those relationships, getting to hang out in person for any reason at all. That's not just seeing them, day to day. It's really interesting. Read that, because they actually have data that shows how their connections got better. That they used, I think it was called Metamatition, I think is what they called it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's a link to it in the blog. It's really cool. Like, they have charts and data. Like, I love things when you can quantitatively see something work, and meeting in person does. Okay, so Alexander Denning, right above that one under resources, put out an article called Marketing Channels and How to Think About Marketing Your WordPress Business. This is just something that I am always interested in. It's something that I want you guys to get interested in, because your business depends on it. Marketing is super important, and you need to think about marketing channels. The way that he puts it, or I love the way that he puts it too. There's content marketing, which is fine. That's what we always do. I mean, we're doing SEO work, we're doing social, all of that stuff. Then there's paid search ads, AdWords, Facebook ads, whatever it is. That's you do that. That we need to be able to do that. There's sponsoring conferences, is what he talks about, like WordCamps or local meetups that you can sponsor, local development and design meetups you can sponsor. Talk to your library, because they're always looking for sponsors for different programs and events, and they really want to help you, and the people there then know about your business. It's a great return. And they talk about TV ads. They work, like even the YouTube ads that you've probably seen for Divi. They work really well. Like, I consider those TV ads. So I've seen them on, I don't know if I've seen them on Hulu, but I know I see them on YouTube on my TV. And then PR stunts. They work, y'all. PR stunts really, really work. People wouldn't keep doing them if they didn't. And I see that Uncle Social says AdWords is dead. It's now Google Ads. I didn't know that. How did I miss that? How long has it been that way? If it's been that way for a long time, I feel bad. But yeah, thank you for letting me know that. I did not know that. And I see Reed says that all of my remote clients out in Canada haven't met me over at least Skype. And yes, they do treat you mega different even if they haven't met you, like, even over Skype. Like, it's a really different thing. Like, even just seeing people and talking to them, that's why we as a team, our remote team, I mean, we have team members in England and Belgium and California. I'm just thinking about our team, the content team, Alabama, Texas, Ohio, where we are very far apart, and we have a weekly video chat where we get together and talk about the week so that we can interact and talk about all sorts of joke around, really, just silly stuff. So it's very important. And I start yeah. Good. I lost my train of thought and I got distracted by comments. So, but yeah, it's good stuff to be able to even see people's faces. And the Google Ads was announced at the end of July. Okay, thank you. I completely missed it. Like, but he goes through a lot of this stuff on how to use these channels, how to work through and identify which channels are going to be the best for you, how to move forward from there. And so that's good. So there are a few more. I'm not going to be able to get to them because it turns out I'm out of time. The other important one that I want to talk about right now, just in passing, and I'm not even going to go into it, but this is your homework from Professor Beej. Look at the what is a canonical URL from Yoast and press this into your brain. These are important. This is how you're going to prevent content scraping. This is how you make sure that Google directs traffic to where you want them to go, where it prevents the duplicate content problem. It's very important. So very, very important. Check it out, and I will take up your assignment next Friday at 2. That said, I really do need to get out of here, but I really appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate you dealing with the stream issue. I really have no idea why it did that, but I really appreciate you bearing with me. I appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day and listening and talking about WordPress. And helping each other out. I want to let you guys know how much it means to me and the rest of Elegant Themes here that we have a community where people legitimately want to help one another. That when someone asks a question, that you guys chime in before we are able to. And that is fantastic, and I really, really appreciate that. Now, I don't want you guys to think that we don't see you doing that. So thank you very, very much for doing that. Just on here and everywhere else. Like, you guys are the best community we could possibly ask for. So thank you very, very much. That said, Reed, you had better be on time next week. That is my wagging my finger at you because I'm very good at being serious. And LV, I'm very glad that your tabs are all open again. Hopefully you won't crash your computer. You guys, I will... Oh, I appreciate that. I see LV talking about my chair. I love it. I love this chair. This chair makes me happy. It reclines and has a footstool, so it's awesome. But yeah, I will get out of here. You guys, if you need anything at all, you can holler at me. My email is bj@elegantthemes.com, and our next live stream will be Monday with a new feature release walkthrough by Mac. It is at 6 a.m. Eastern, and then on Tuesday we have a use case scenario that I believe is Donyetta's week this week. So we will see what she's going to teach us how to do and be better than us at, so that we can be a little bit more awesome. So hopefully everybody has a fantastic weekend, a fantastic week, and I will see you in the comments, my friends. Bye, everybody.